As development for Assassin's Creed Shadows reaches the last 6 months, Ubisoft might be cursing themselves over this cultural appropriation. As the Japanese government takes inquiries to find out what went wrong with this game, Ubisoft appears to be distancing themselves from their own cultural collaborators. Those are the academics who say that Yasuke was a black samurai. Let's talk about this disaster of an apology from Ubisoft here on That Gameplays. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is my fluffy friend, Mr. Marvin the Movie Monster, and also my other fluffy friend, Mr. Culture Casino.
Good morning, Jonas.
I wasn't going to go there, but then I realized you have a large beard, and
I do.
It kind of fits. This is this is breaking news. Marvin, you should grow a beard. That's true. That's true. But it's not big and gray. So we woke up this morning to Assassin's Creed from the official Assassin's Creed account tweeting out this message, this 4-part apology. You can see it's on part 4 here. We're gonna shift over here because it's a little difficult to read. And one day I will learn to read, but in the meantime, I'll struggle through. To our esteemed Japanese community, a message from the Assassin's Creed Shadows development team. First, we want to express our heartfelt thanks for all your support for the Assassin's Creed series, which now has its own history spanning almost 20 years. Just trying to reaffirm to everyone, no, we're the people that you know and love, and all that money that you spent was because you love us, right? Over this time, we have explored various settings, time periods, and characters from an assassin during the Third Crusade to a Viking in 9th century England, and countless more. Is that everything up to this point, by the way? Is Valhalla, was that the last Assassin's Creed game? They start to bleed together after a while.
No, what was the last one? Was Mirage or something like that? It was a spin-off of Valhalla. Valhalla was the last full game. I believe Mirage or whatever it was called was like a half game, like a small game.
I see. All right. For many of our team, creating an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan has been a long cherished dream. Well, it's an interesting way to play that. Since the announcement of Assassin's Creed Shadows, we have received many positive reactions, but also some criticism, including from you, our Japanese players. So this is specifically to the Japanese community. Interesting.
Yet written in English.
That's very true. Now, I will give them this benefit. They do have a Japanese version of this statement, but you make a very good point, Marvin. You don't get the virtue signal for the English-speaking community unless you also release it in English.
Exactly.
Yep. We would like to address a few points to clarify our intentions and creative decisions.
So, in other words, we want to acknowledge the fact that you're mad, but we want to tell you why you're wrong.
Exactly. As all good apologies do. They want to explain to you why you will misunderstand what's going on here.
It's like your classic example of, I'm sorry, but, or I'm sorry if you're offended.
Yeah, but this is just like the French, folks. This is normal. Yeah, we're sorry, but you're wrong, and this is why, and and that's all. That's kind of we indeed.
Bien sûr. Overall authenticity efforts. We have put a significant effort into ensuring an immersive and respectful representation of feudal Japan. Based on some of the reporting that we're seeing from Japanese cultural experts, there's some debate about that. Like, why are torii gates leading to villages?
And does that include all the Chinese architecture they put in there, or plants that don't belong? And nothing about this is. I don't think any of these people have ever even seen Japan.
You know, that's a very good point. And if Japan is just a motif that you see in movies, I can understand some of these. But in the same way that, like, when American people are represented in Japanese anime, it's always kind of hilarious. I think if they were going for a joke, no problem whatsoever. Go ahead, do your thing. You know? Let's continue on. However, our intention has never been to present any of our Assassin's Creed games, including Assassin's Creed Shadows, as factual representations of history or historical characters. Instead, we aim to spark curiosity and encourage players to explore and learn more about the historical settings we get inspired by. That is what a loaded statement right there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the only time any of these people have ever seen Japan is they watched Kill Bill 1 and Karate Kid 2.
Wow.
I love Okinawa. It's true. Actually, if Assassin's Creed Shadows was specifically set during Karate Kid Part 2, they would get my money.
Me too.
This is such a okay. Obviously, they're putting a lot of effort into the historical aspect. I don't understand going for the historical aspect and then saying we're not going for the historical aspect. This is to set a game in feudal Japan. Obviously, okay, you have your game that is set during the Crusades, and you have a Templar. I believe he's Middle Eastern. I was never interested in Altair.
Altair is Middle Eastern, but in the first game, he doesn't sound Middle Eastern. They gave him a Middle Eastern accent in Assassin's Creed Generations, I think it was called. It was the one where you played as both Altair and Ezio.
Right. That's a very good point. In the Ezio games, obviously Ezio Auditore is Italian, and it's set during the Renaissance in Italy.
It's a subtle portrayal, but you could find notes of the Italian in there if you really listen closely.
Yeah. Oh man, is that Nolan North on that voice? By the way, oh man, I see. This is the problem. I have loved so much about the Assassin's Creed games, and I have rolled my eyes about so much of the present day aspects of the Assassin's Creed games. I've played quite a few of them. I get it when you're setting it during the American Revolution, why you might choose Connor. Wait, no, is it Connor Kemway? That's the protagonist of number 3.
Yep,
and then of course. And then Black Flag, of course, you would get someone with Scottish ancestry, even though he's Scottish ancestry with a little bit of Native American blood in there. But generally speaking, when you're representing a culture,
Edward Kenway
you pick
is Connor,
the person from the culture.
Edward Kenway is Connor's grandfather, so he doesn't have any Native American blood.
Oh, that's it. The other way around.
Yeah.
It's Edward's father. That's the Templar in that one. Man, I need to go back and play that one. I enjoyed the collectathons of Assassin's Creed. If we could just stay out of the segments that are in present day. It's like, come on, but let's get past this.
You look at Assassin's Creed 3, and what you've got is a fictional character who's inserted into actual historical events. You're playing Bunker Hill, you're doing the Boston Tea Party, but you're inserting this fictional character in this. You're not taking a historical figure and fictionalizing them. You're not playing as Thomas Jefferson. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's a very good point.
Oh, sorry. I just want to say I think what was always been interesting about the games is that they are building a layer on top of actual history, historical events, and historical figures. Right, as you go around and you collect, Benjamin Franklin's pages or whatever is part of that, or you go around and you collect the sea shanties in Black Flag. I mean, it's
Billy Riley.
Yeah, exactly. And as you go around and you do these additional items, these are chance encounters, don't have any historical significance, won't impact history for the most part. Outside of the early stuff with Ezio and encountering the Borgias and so on, I think it's very I think it's very subtly laid on top of actual events that happened in those various periods of time. This does no such thing.
But the intention here was to put a fictional character in the location and then work from there. If I'm understanding your point here, Yasuke actually existed, and that is the reason that this is so much trouble here. Assassin's Creed Shadows is first and foremost designed to be an entertaining video game that tells a compelling historical fiction set in feudal Japan. Our team extensively collaborated with external consultants, historians, researchers, and internal teams at Ubisoft Japan to inform our creative choices. I'm curious about the involvement of Ubisoft Japan, considering the complaints that have been made against Ubisoft at this point.
Well, we should probably take a look at who comprises Ubisoft Japan, because if they really were, involved in this, who exactly makes up their team?
I wonder if they just struck the check to Sweet Baby Inc. over there in Japan.
And notice how they do acknowledge that they're people they collaborate with. Well, if they collaborated with a now exposed communist, historian who was forcing these ideas in, by misreading text, then we've got a problem.
Right.
If you're working with Sweet Baby Inc., we've got a problem. And there's nothing but problems here for as far as the eye can see. They are trying to, excuse those away. Anyway.
So for those of you who are not following the story, there's a historian named Thomas Lockley who took 3 facts about an African American that was called Yasuke in Japan and expanded it into he was definitely a samurai, which is, I'm going to say that is the most favorable portrayal to what someone who is looking to deconstruct Japanese culture, if they did not take a favorable view of Japanese culture or wanted to create an oddity here, yes, go ahead. Stretch the fact that he was given a house, a title, and a weapon, and all of those things are ceremonial and points of the honorifics, whatever you want to call it, and saying, no, this definitely means that he was a samurai warrior working in Japan. I think I'll say that's a stretch. Also, Thomas Lockley may or may not be employed anymore. That's a matter of some debate as well. So, considering that there's a matter of debate about the guy who is introducing what is extremely a matter of debate, maybe that's why Ubisoft is trying to get out in front of this. Let's continue on. Despite these sustained efforts, we acknowledge that some elements in our promotional materials have caused concern within the Japanese community. For this, we sincerely apologized. They're localizing it to the promotional materials here. This is corporate speak. All game footage presented so far is in development, and the game will keep evolving until launch. Here is another excuse to throw in here for anyone who's hoping to defend it, saying, no, it might not even be in there when it's all done. Based on the constructive criticism we have received, we will continue our efforts until we put this game into your hands and beyond. I don't want you going beyond my hands. Thank you. Constructive criticism. So they're saying that only part of the criticism is constructive there.
Oh yeah, they're really trying to discount what's valid and what's not, and especially the what's not. Plus, if they really want you to buy this, folks, the release date for this game is November 12th. If they're not considerably done almost entirely, they have big problems.
Yep. One piece of fact check I want to put on you there, Culture. You've spread some disinformation.
Oh no, what did I spread?
It's the 15th.
That's odd.
Yeah. We also want to clarify that while we have been consulting with many people throughout the development process, they are in no way responsible for the decisions that are taken by creative teams in the interest of gameplay and entertainment. I would say that's a defensive move at this point to make sure they can get consultants in the future, because at this point, I'm seeing it as a liability to work with these people from a historical standpoint. If they set the next game at Disneyland, I don't think Vash should accept their calls.
Yeah, 100%. Like, at the end of the day, this has been the thing that they've been saying about Sweet Baby Inc. since the Squad game came out. It was that, like, oh, they don't make decisions. No, they're not involved in the storytelling. They're narrative consultants. They're consulting on the narrative.
Right, and that narrative was pretty awful from what I understand.
Can I fact check your fact check?
Yeah.
Okay. The game comes out on the 12th for people who pre-bought it.
Ah, there we go. I wasn't really calling you a purveyor of disinformation. Someone I cited something last night and they disagreed with me and they called me disinformation. I'm like, you could just say I'm wrong, buddy.
My faith in Culture Casino is restored.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, come on now. Come on.
Well,
now. No, if you you can get it. You can get it 3 days early. The official release date is the 15th. So.
There you go. Creative liberties in historic. Oh, wait. We skipped something here. Consequently, we respectfully request that any criticism not be directed at our collaborators, both internal and external. Internal collaborators. Don't point it at the people who make the game. Is that what that's
internal
saying?
collaborators? Aren't those employees? Aren't those members of your team? Please,
yes.
We respectfully request that any criticism not be directed at anyone at all.
Yeah,
or us. Just out of respect for those who have worked with us, don't tell me I'm wrong. Creative liberties and historical inspirations. While we strive for authenticity in everything that we do, Assassin's Creed games are works of fiction inspired by real historical events and figures. From its inception, the series has taken creative license and incorporated fantasy elements to craft engaging and immersive experiences. I'll say Assassin's Creed 2, doesn't that end with a fist fight with the Pope on an alien spaceship? So yeah, I think we all acknowledge that.
Yeah, you're underneath the Vatican in like a magical like chamber from the first civilization. You're fighting Pope the head of the Borgias, Rodrigo Borgia.
Yeah.
Yep. Here we go. The representation of Yasuke in our game is an illustration of this. Okay. So are they admitting that they are fictionalizing with Yasuke here? Have they thrown out the narrative that Yasuke was historically accurate, or their portrayal as being historically accurate?
That's the only way you can read that statement.
Well, I think they're trying to say that. I think that they are careful about how they say it because they don't want to throw their entire game basis into question. I mean, one of the things they were relying on is that you were playing this, actual human. So, again, I think this is the first time they've done this as a playable character where you're playing an actual person.
And
So,
they chose him for a very specific reason. They
yes.
wanted okay, I'm not going to try to read intention here, but I wouldn't. It would be very easy for me to interpret this as they're trying very hard to be diverse in a game where it would probably be to their detriment to have an assassin be a 6'4" black guy in feudal Japan. That's gonna minimize his ability to go through unnoticed, or a shinobi that is a little Japanese woman, but also carrying around a sword on her back. I think she's going to get noticed.
Yeah.
Hmm. Let's continue on. While Yasuke is depicted as a samurai in Assassin's Creed Shadows, depicted, that's another word for
It's
portrayed, not
yeah.
necessarily saying that it is in actuality. It probably should put the word ostensibly there. We acknowledge that this is a matter of debate and discussion. Finally,
Oh
they admit it.
wow, that
Yeah.
that that is a concession that because they were not acknowledging that there was any debate or discussion. This was a historical fact.
That's true.
Oh my, I can't believe that they actually got to this point where they have to admit it. I wonder if all the pressure, and you can see videos on this channel, and we will be live streaming about Yasuke on Wednesday at 3 p.m. on that gameplay. So you should come in and check it out. We get to interact with the audience there. Let's continue on here as we look at Ubisoft's decline. We'll have a little bit of additional information to add in here that you might all find interesting. We have woven this carefully into our narrative. Carefully is a matter of subjectivity. And with our other lead character, the Japanese shinobi Naoi, I'm probably mispronouncing that, who is equally important in the game. Our dual protagonists provide players with different gameplay styles.
Yeah.
Also, shinobi and ninja appear to be interchangeable based off of the promotional
Yes.
materials here,
Yes.
which I believe that's also a trouble spot.
Yes.
Marvin, did you have something there?
No, I'm just saying nobody cares about your shinobi. Like that is nobody has even mentioned her. It is just more nobody the glaring thing here is the playable Yasuke. Like if he was just like a person you got missions from and like did things for and alongside, I think people would have been like, "Oh, that's a pretty cool inclusion." But making him the main character, no.
And with Assassin's Creed, you don't generally have a playable character who's a side character, but it seems like the kind of thing that maybe they will do a DLC or something like that, and it would be cool. And if you have him there as a black samurai, as someone that you interact with, or as a member of the assassins, again going back to Assassin's Creed 3, the assassin that you learn from in Assassin's Creed 3 is a black assassin,
Yes, he
which
is.
it's cool. I'm not
Achilles.
gonna lie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think anybody really has a problem with the existence of the character, or if he's a side character, for them to puff him up a little bit, make him more in the legendary style.
Well,
But when he is your main character and your secondary is a Japanese lady, none of the main characters here are who you would assume you would be playing as if you said this is an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan.
and then you have Adewale, who was the quartermaster in Assassin's Creed 4, and they gave him his own game.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Man, I just got so distracted singing sea shanties on that game. I just almost forget about the rest of the game itself.
Oh, I love that, and the sea shanties in there are great. And
Yeah.
I will say this: when they do their research and they do things well, their games are top notch. Although now they seem rather repetitive in gameplay and style. I have to say that up until the last several games where they started to put garbage in, and we got garbage out, I would say that they were fun, especially the first four. Now what we're getting here is such a dramatic retelling of a period of time that is so well documented by the Japanese that this can be nothing but insulting to them. And as you will find out on Wednesday's live stream, and also on many videos we have coming out this week, Japan is not thrilled with this in any way.
Yep. I think that's an understatement here, because we've heard nothing except offense, and this is what the West is doing. This is what the West is doing. This is what the West is doing from out of Japan. Let's play count the lie here on this last paragraph here. We greatly value your feedback. There's one.
Ding.
And encourage you to continue sharing your thoughts.
Ding.
Ding. Respectfully. Okay. Oh, I see. They encourage you to continue doing it respectfully. Well, respectfully, we think you're missing the mark here. While we understand that meeting everyone's expectations is very difficult, we sincerely hope that when Assassin's Creed Shadows launches on November 15th, culture, there's a ding for you. Players in Japan and around the world will appreciate the dedication, effort, and passion we have poured into it from the Assassin's Creed Shadows development team.
Wow.
In closing, I just want to put this up here. In 2023, at the end of 2023, Ubisoft stock on the Paris stock exchange here was trading at $30 a share, and currently it's around 12. You can read more about that over here on that Park Place. A great article here from John Trent. If you're wanting to read more about the Yasuke situation, of course, follow that Game Place, but also that Park Place. John Trent has been doing great coverage of
Incredible.
Yasuke and the entire situation there. Guys, do we have any thoughts before we close this one out?
So every time, so I watch a lot of media that comes out of Japan, and every time you have a big Japanese show, there's always one question that weirdos from the West start screaming: where are the black people? That is always the question, despite the fact that this was a mostly homogenized culture. It seems as though Asian men specifically are kind of the target of the Western virtue signalers and their war on popular culture, because you even had an Assassin's Creed game set in China before and you played as a woman. So it seems to be just kind of like a very intentional thing. Now, and the thing when you say, well, there were no black people in feudal Japan, they always fire back, oh, there was a black samurai. So this is kind of like the evolved perfect form of that argument. I think personally that the Japanese culture and Asian culture in general is threatening to a lot of these people in the West, because it is based on things like family, hard work, respect, all things that it seems like from a lot of the entertainment that we've been getting lately, they are trying to wipe from the map. So this is just another example of that.
That is so well said, Marvin.
And Sony is absolutely, amongst other studios, Ubisoft and many others, are basically undermining that culture. We're seeing that happen more frequently, and we're actually hearing many of the Asian countries clap back on those types of efforts. In fact, they're calling them out across all of Asia and saying this is how they are in the West. This is how broken they are in the West. And they're very, very correct when they say that, talking about DEI, which they take direct offense to. We recorded a video about that you'll be seeing very soon, amongst other things. I'm telling you, we have barely touched the top of the powder for the powder keg, and it's about to explode over there, I think.
I have hope that if Japan responds, they respond by making an amazing game that we all enjoy. This is a fascinating thing. Of course, there is another video on this channel talking about the Japanese diet, which is actually the name of the legislature over there in Japan, bringing up Ubisoft, that French company, as the senator over there refers to it. He wants to know why they have chosen to depict Japan in this way, possibly using AI. I don't know if that's an insult or a compliment there to say that it must be AI that is consolidating these images, because it seems like it is a mindless robot pushing different aspects of Pan-Asian cultures into Japan, like Marvin referred to before, Chinese elements being incorporated into a Japanese setting. With that being said, there's plenty to watch on this channel. If you're following this situation, we'll have a live stream tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to join that Game Place, we'll actually have John Trent from that Park Place joining us for that one to talk everything Yasuke. And of course, consider subscribing to that Game Place. Game on.